Never ever matters if legs are crossed, if legs are straight. What we want to do though when we're seated is attempt to find length from the pelvic floor all the way up through the crown of the head. Of course, to do that, we pull the belly button and the solar plexus in, engaging the core so that the front body is what supports our back body. And then I like to roll my shoulders back a couple times, just give my body the signal that it's time for me to settle into the seat. Your eyes either close halfway and your focus just dissipates, or your eyes might close all the way. With your eyes closed, you'll allow your face to soften. And as you release the jaw, notice your breath. Breathing in and out the nostrils. Maybe you notice whether our breath is shallow or breath is deep. Typically, one side of our nose is more like plugged than the other, and the air is moving easily through one side. And just notice that. And checking in with your own self today. Right, do a physical check, an emotional or energetic check-in. Cognitive check. Noting that as you check in, it's just as though you're literally checking in. You're not changing anything, judging anything. Just allowing yourself this pause so that you can notice or observe what's going on with you this morning. Having checked in, let your awareness move back to breath. And then back to body, particularly down through your torso and down into your sits bones, which is just that bony part of the butt that makes kind of the most contact with the earth. As you inhale, then imagine that butt, or those sits bones, they sink down into your mat. And as you exhale, imagine that your entire body can lift up all the way up through the crown of the head. Inhaling, you're going to sink down into your floor. And exhaling, it's as though your energy moves up and out through the crown of the head. Inhaling to sink or to root to the earth. Exhaling to lift up. Keep breathing, your inhale rooting you. As you exhale, your roots stay down, but your energy moves up. Very mindfully, let's bring the right hand to the heart. And the left one will come up as well, just crossing over. So your hands are essentially like cradling your heart. You're still breathing, inhaling to root down. Exhaling to allow the energy to rise up. Maybe your hands now feel this breath. Maybe your hands feel the beating of your heart. As you're holding this heart center, you might wonder if there's an intention for your practice this morning. Our heart energetically, of course, is where love is cultivated, is experienced. But it's also this place of knowing, and not knowing intellectually, but like really, really knowing with all parts of your being. Almost where like your truth is stored, stems from. If and when you identify an intention, you'll just take a breath in and then use your exhale to drop your hands back to your lap and then tuck your chin down to your chest. As your chin tucks, it's as though that head, that intellectual part of you, it draws closer to your heart. That loving, knowing part of you. With an inhale, we'll roll the right ear up and over to the right shoulder. Use your exhale, roll your chin down to your chest. And inhale, we'll roll the left ear up and over to the left shoulder. Exhaling, the chin rolls to the chest. Again to the right. And down to the chest. From side to side, your breath initiating your movement. Right at first, when you're trying to unite breath and movement, it feels really funny, kind of artificial to start breathing and then move. But over time, they'll go seamlessly together. And those two will unite, the breath with the movement, the mind with the body, the head with the heart. Next time your chin is at your chest, pause and let your head just hang heavy. Feel the weight even of the head, and tuck the chin in just a little bit more, like you're making double chins, really letting the back of that neck lengthen. With a chin tucked, relax your shoulders. Next inhale, the head will lift to the middle, and your exhale will gently rock it back so your throat is open. Once your throat is open, roll your shoulders back and down and lift your heart up. That part of you that knows, that part of you that loves. Maybe that part of you knows that you are love. Keeping your heart up, bring your head back to the middle. And let's twist the head to the right. Our chin parallel with the earth. Both shoulders relaxed. Inhale, bring your head back to the center. Use your exhale, twist the head to the left, chin still parallel with the ground. Lovely. Inhaling, head comes back to the center. And one more time, we'll tuck it to the chest. Relax the shoulders. Tuck the tailbone between the legs and let your back body bend like you're moving towards a seated cat. You're curling down. This is different than slouching because your core is engaged and because you're being very purposeful. If your hands aren't on your knees, bring them to your knees. And let's use an inhale to lengthen the spine, roll the shoulders back and down, open the throat. So heart lifts again, your tailbone lifts up and back. Take another breath in here. And with your exhale, you'll tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin, arch the back. So you're in your seated cat. Inhaling forward, come to your seated cat. Exhale back to your seated cat. It's like when a cat's gonna hiss. Inhaling to come forward like a cow, and that would be the belly of the cow as your torso. Exhale back to cat. Inhaling forward to cow. Do 2 more breaths. And it'll be an inhale that brings you back just to a neutral spine. Once you're at neutral, your spine is ready to twist because we've gone forward and back. We can bring the right hand or the left hand over to the right thigh. Right hand behind the hip. Take your breath in, get nice and tall, and use your exhale to turn your shoulders towards the right. You could turn your head too if you want. But nice and gentle twisting of the shoulders. Roll the shoulders back and down again. Feel the length all the way from your sits bones, like from your butt, all the way up through your torso, like you're lifting out the crown of the head. Breath in, breath out will bring you back to the middle. Your right hand will come to the left leg. We're rolling the shoulders back and down, letting the shoulders twist to the left, maybe the head too. Feeling your inhale as it roots your sits bones to your earth. Your exhale lifts you up through the crown of the head. Good, take a breath in. With your exhale, you'll untwist and we'll either roll over our knees or kick the feet to the side, however you get to all fours. Let's meet on all fours. And once you're on all fours, you're just gonna stretch one leg or another out behind you, your toes on the ground. Pushing that heel back, pulling your belly in. You just want the back of that leg to lengthen, to wake up. Maybe your head moves a little side to side. You'll switch your legs, just letting both of them extend. And then both knees back under the hips. Let's bring our knees out and apart a bit. Slide the butt back towards the heels and come down like you're moving towards child's pose. If your hips or your lower back are tender or tight, it might feel really awkward to try to force the forehead to the earth. So instead, you'll just stack your fists. Let it be gentle. Maybe shift the weight from side to side in the hips. Almost like you're at ease with the fact that the body tightens. Of course it tightens. Those muscles protect you, they stabilize you. If your arms will reach forward, we'll bring ourselves back to tabletop. And bring the knees so they're back under the hip. Roll the shoulders back. With an inhale, your right leg will lift up, level with your hip and straight. You'll pull your toes towards your shin. And you'll have your core engaged so that if you were to feel your belly, particularly like the right side of your torso, those muscles are what's holding your leg up. If and when you wish, the left arm will lengthen alongside your ear. And so you're balancing here, your core doing the work. Your breath could still root you down. Your exhale could lift you up. And it might be that the root this time is your hand or your knee. Those things that are touching the earth. Good, do one more breath. Take an extra inhale. With your exhale, your hand and your knee come back down. Our knees are under our hips. With an inhale, left leg is up and level with our hip. Toes pulling in towards our shin, just setting ourselves up. Your hips are nice and level. If and when you wish, right arm is up alongside that ear. And you're balancing. Your core again is doing the work. Your back body is engaged. This is super, super good for the entire body. And of course, the balancing part is not just body oriented, but it's mind oriented. And so if we concentrate on breath, maybe even find a spot down on our mat that we focus our attention. Good, we've got one more breath. Extra inhale. Exhale to bring the hand and the knee down. Bring your knees apart a little. Slide your butt back towards your heels and find your child's pose again. Maybe weight shifts while you're down here. You're doing what you need to do to find ease in this position. Feeling breath. Good, if arms are wrapped around the legs, bring them forward. You'll inhale to get to tabletop, knees back under your hips if they're not. Again, right leg is up, straight out behind you, toes towards the shin. This time we're gonna bring left arm alongside the ear, but then we're gonna bend it so it's like a goalpost or an L and your palm is facing your ear. And so here we are playing with the mind again. We're gonna bend the knee and straighten the arm. Then bend the arm, straighten the leg. Bend the arm, or bend the leg, straighten the arm. Arm bends, leg straight. Arm straight, leg bent. Arm bent, leg straight. Arm straight, leg bent. 2 more times, just back and forth. And we'll land with both of them straight. So leg up, arm up, breath in, breath out to bring it down. Wiggle your hips, your shoulders, your head, your neck, just kind of releasing. With an inhale, that left leg is up, level with your hip. Right arm is up. However, right arm bends. Make sure everything's engaged. You'll inhale to straighten the arm, bend the leg. Exhale to straighten the leg, bend the arm. Inhale, arm is straight, leg is bent. Exhale, leg is straight, arm is bent. Keep going, a few more times. When we meet, we're gonna meet both straight. Breath in, breath out brings everything down. This time knees move out, butt moves back towards heels, and you come on down to child's pose. Nice big breaths. Maybe your weight shifts side to side in your hips a little. Next inhale, we're back to all fours. Knees under our hips, hands under our shoulders. Belly in, you want your core engaged. We're gonna bring that right foot back out, this time toes on the ground. The heel will drop out towards the outside edge of our mat. Then the heel will come to the ceiling or towards the middle. It'll drop down towards the middle of our mat. Inhaling, heel to the ceiling. Exhaling, let it roll to the outside edge of your mat. Inhale to the middle. Exhale, drop the heel to the inside. Go back and forth a couple times. It's as though you're letting your thigh bone move in the hip socket. And then next time your heel is dropped towards the middle of the mat, you're gonna keep it. Kick your left foot out if you need a little kickstand, but we're gonna stack the hips, bring the right hand to the hip, and just let yourself open up. So it's like your shoulders are stacked, your hips are stacked. And I know some of you like to bring arm up, drop it alongside your ear, and get that entire side body, that whole right side of your body lengthened. If you do that, check in with neck. Remember, your inhale can root you to those places that are touching your earth. And your exhale can lift you towards the ceiling, towards the sky. Good. With an inhale, top arm is to the ceiling. Exhale, bring your hand to your hip. Unstack your hips, your shoulders, so you're back to all fours, knee under the hip. Left leg is out behind you, toes on the earth. And you're letting the heel drop towards the outside edge of your mat. Then rotating the leg so heel is towards the ceiling, dropping it towards the inside of your mat. Inhale, heel to the ceiling. Exhale to roll it out. Inhaling, ceiling, side to side a couple more times. Next time your heel is dropped towards the middle of your mat, you'll sneak that right foot out as a kickstand. Stack your hips, stack your shoulders. Your left hand just comes to your hip. Maybe arm is up alongside the ear, but you're looking to find length from that whole entire left side. Maybe you roll that left shoulder back and down a little bit. Nice. If arm is alongside the ear, use an inhale, draw it to the ceiling. The exhale brings the hand to the hips. Unstack your hips, unstack your shoulders. Come on back to tabletop. Move those knees apart. Send your butt back towards your heels. Find your child's pose. Maybe your hips are shifting side to side down here, just easing into your position, to your pose. As your butt drops towards your heels, your awareness moves to that space that's across the back of the hips and the lower back. And in that space, your intention is to soften. Of course, those muscles have to lengthen in order to allow this, but they lengthen with ease. Good. If arms are wrapped, bring them forward. Let's inhale, find our tabletop again. We want to tuck the toes under us. We're going for a back of the leg, those hamstrings stretch. So hands are underneath our shoulders, knees under our hips, our toes tucked. Take your breath in, engage. Use your exhale, come up and back to your down dog so you can pedal your feet. And even in down dog, it's as though that back body stays long. And so while your feet are pedaling, it's as though you're lifting your butt way high and pushing it back. Rooting down with your hands, your feet in your inhale. Exhaling, letting your energy lift up and even lift out. Good, take a breath in. Use your exhale, come back to the earth again. And let's bring our right foot forward up and in between our hands. And if we have blocks, this is a great place to grab our blocks and let them be like extra arm lengths. And so you're in a low lunge is where we meet. Maybe you're rocking back and forth a little bit, allowing that left hip to gradually open. And when you feel like it's appropriate, you're gonna bring your weight forward so that we can meet in low lunge. You might check that back heel. Some of us, me in particular, like I let mine roll out really floppy. And I just wanna engage it and allow that heel to be directed like right towards the ceiling. Good, once you've got your low lunge, bring your right hand to that right knee, roll your right shoulder back and twist your shoulders to the right. Good, breath in, breath out, I'll untwist you. If you want, shift your weight all the way back, try to straighten that front leg. Even bring your toes towards the shin, roll the shoulders back, pull the belly in. Good, you'll bring your weight forward, just enough you can send that front foot back, knee under the hip, and left one forward. And exact same thing, you're just easing into this right hip flexor. Note that our hips and our back usually go hand in hand. If one is tender, quite possible the opposite is tight. So like if our lower back is tender, maybe our hips, particularly this hip flexor, the psoas, might need our awareness. Check in with your back heel. And when you're ready, left hand is to the knee, the shoulders roll back and down, and the shoulders shift to the left. Breath in, breath out. You'll untwist. You're shifting weight back, trying to straighten that left leg, maybe toes towards the shins, level hip, belly engaged. So it's just your hips hinging, not your back bending. Sweet, weight shifts forward. We'll bring that front foot back. Bring your hands back to the ground if they're not. And again, we're gonna kickstand that little left foot out to the side. Your right leg lengthens, so your hip stack, your shoulder stack. And that right hand comes to the hip. And so we're gonna move towards our low half moon, which means that the core engaged is gonna lift that right leg straight out of the hip. Awesome. If we want, top arm is to the ceiling. And this is your mind, this is balancing. Interestingly, it seems as though muscles have a part in balance, but that our mind has more of a factor than the body. Nice job. Take a breath in. Use your exhale, hand to your hip, leg to the earth. Unstack so you can roll back to all fours and do the other side. Left foot is your kickstand. Now that's your right foot is your kickstand. Left leg lengthens. You stack the hips, stack the shoulders. Remember, your core is your lifter. So when you're ready, that leg is up, level with the hip, arm is up, and you've got your low half moon. Nice big breaths. Focus on something that doesn't move. Breath in, breath out brings your hands, your leg down so you can unstack shoulders, unstack hips. And let's meet in child's pose. So butt back towards the heels, forehead towards the earth, maybe stacked fist, forearms, but softening into this. Couple big breaths. Next inhale, we slide back to tabletop. Knees under our hips. Tuck the toes, take your breath in. Exhale up and back to your down dog. If your feet need to pedal, they pedal. But hips are high, hips are back. Good, one more breath. And we're gonna bring our right foot forward. So you can either drop the knees and get it forward, or you can bring it forward from your down dog, either way. Once you're here, you're in a high lunge now instead of a low lunge. Let's see what happens if we bring our weight forward and try to lift the leg so it's level with our hip. In your bottom leg, your right one can stay as bent as you want it to stay bent. Engage your core though, otherwise your hips are gonna try to do this and it's not gonna be pleasant later, quite possibly. Good, so nice level hips. Bend that bottom leg so you can bring the foot all the way down, planted under the hip. So you've got both feet planted, you're in forward fold, chin tucked in. Inhaling to get halfway, flat back. Exhale to fold. Bend your knees, arms out like giant wings. We're gonna inhale to unhinge our hips, lift up, reach up. Exhaling, hands come together and they come down to heart. With an inhale, let your arms lift and reach. Exhaling, knees bend, hips hinge. Find your forward fold, tuck your chin. Inhale halfway. Exhale to fold. Plant your hands, step your feet back, drop your knees if you wish, so you're in low plank. Shoulders roll back, take a breath in with your exhale, elbows bend so you can lower to the earth. Once on the earth, lengthen the legs. You'll inhale to get to cobra, feeling the lower back, it's compressing. Your core is lifting, and technically you could pick your hands up. Breath in, breath out will push you to your knees. Get your hips up and back for your down dog. Nice big breath. We need to bring left leg forward. So either drop the knees and get it there or pull it forward, however you go. Once you're there, you're in high lunge. Maybe you've got your blocks. I should have said that earlier, but for like longer arms. We shift the weight forward to that left leg so we can lift the right one up. Like we're gonna lift it level with our hips. Bottom leg can stay bent as much as you wish. Remember, core is engaged, hips are level. Breath in, breath out. We'll bend that right leg, tuck it in so it's underneath your hip. We meet in forward fold, chin in. Next inhale, halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, arms out like wings so you can come all the way up. Hands come together, slide down to heart. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge the hips, find your forward fold. Inhaling halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold. Plant the hands so you can step your feet back. You're in plank, high or low. Breath in, breath out brings you to the earth. Legs lengthen. Inhale to get to your cobra. So chest is up. Our core is doing our work. Maybe our hands are even up. Pushing to the knees, toes tuck. You're up and back to your down dog. Big breath. Take a breath in. Use your exhale, drop your knees to the earth and tuck your toes, but back towards the heels. Find your child's pose. Nice big breaths down here. Great place for you to just remind yourself of your intention. If that heart of yours spoke as we were seated, preparing for our physical practice. This is another position where our head, our mind is drawing close to the heart. So often we think that we know something, and it might be know it even in terms of this kind of growing of our awareness. Like we know something about ourselves or about our way of being. But as we keep doing this work, we find that for some time we only know it in our head. We don't actually know it in our hearts. Easy example would be just the belief that you're good enough. If you've done some work, intellectually you know you're good enough. But until it sinks down into the heart, your knowing, like real knowing, is yet to come. Bring your arms forward. Use your inhale, come to tabletop. We'll bring our knees so they're under our hips, tuck our toes. Take the breath in to make sure everything's engaged. Your exhale lifts you up and back to down dog. And this time in down dog, you're gonna either walk your feet forward or walk your hands back so we can meet in forward fold. Chin is tucked. Next inhale, come halfway, flat back. Then exhale, fold. Bend the knees, arms out like wings. Inhale to come all the way up. Hands move together and they come down to heart. All right, so we're gonna move into, it's a full or a high half moon. If you have a wall available, I would invite you to find your wall. If you have a chair or a couch even, that might serve just as well. But it might be really lovely to have something to hang on to. Like if this were my chair, I might have my hands on my chair so I'm not having to reach all the way to the ground. And I'll probably use my blocks anyways. If you have a wall available, holy moly, we do this sometimes while we're here. When we get here, we like rock back and let the wall hold us. That's totally cool too. But we're gonna start with our feet under our hips. And everywhere we start, we wanna start knowing that we're grounded to the earth. With our feet under our hips, our legs engaged, knees, little micro bends if the tendency is to lock them. Belly and shoulders back. And that lift through the crown of the head. Always, this is where we start. Maybe this is where we even start our walks when we're out in the world, or we start our stand in the grocery line. When you're ready, then your knees are gonna bend a little. Let your hips hinge so that you can come down and find either your chair, your couch, your block. Maybe some of you will be all the way on the earth. When you're ready though, and you're stable, all your weight will shift to that left leg. Your belly's engaged so you can pull that right one up level with your hip. And I might just note, you can stay right here if you feel like this is enough for you today. If you wanna turn this into the full half moon, you're gonna stack that right hip on top of the left, pull your toes towards your shin if they're not, and see what happens if you try to bring your right hand to your hip and open your heart, that's that heart, to the right. Good, so your shoulders are stacked, your hips are stacked. Maybe, just maybe, that top arm reaches to the ceiling. If you wanted even more than this, your gaze would turn to the ceiling. Mine is certainly not. I'm shaky today, hard to balance, and that's totally okay. It's just today. When you've had enough, top arm to the hip, unstack your hips, bring that leg down, hinge the hips, find your forward fold, chin in. Nice big breath. With an inhale, slide halfway up, flat back. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, arms out like wings. Come all the way up so your hips can unhinge. Hands come down to heart. Okie doke. Stabilize yourself first, so ground into mountain. And we're solid here. We're securely rooted to the earth. If somebody tried to push us even, like we're so connected, we're not gonna fall. Take a breath in. With your exhale, bend your knees, hinge your hips. Find either your chair, your block, your floor, whatever you're gonna use. When you're ready, all the weight into your right foot. Left leg lengthens straight out behind you. You choose to stay here or move to half moon, which would mean you stack those hips. If and when you wish, left hand to the hip, so you can open the heart to the left. Maybe a left arm reaches to the ceiling and your arm is straight out from the shoulder, leg is straight out from the hip. And you're breathing. Top arm comes back to the hip, hips unstack, bend the knee as you bring that straight leg back and down under the hip, knees bend. We find our forward fold, chin tucked in. Inhaling to come halfway, it's a flat back. Exhale to fold. Bend those knees, arms out like wings, come all the way up. Hands come together and they come down to heart. Okie doke. We're coming to the floor. So however you get there, maybe you hinge the hips, come down. Maybe a tricky way is to cross one leg over top of the other. Bend the knees and slowly lower yourself to the earth. Awesome. With your feet down, we're gonna bring legs out in front of us, knees bent, arms out in front of us, belly engaged, tuck your chin in, and slowly, slowly, slowly roll yourself to the earth. Once you're down, knees come into the chest, hands to the knees, and you're hugging it. Your work is done. The rest of our time is spent just releasing, relaxing. So tell yourself that, tell your body that, thank your body for the practice. With your next exhale, you'll bring your feet to the earth. Your knees will still be bent. Bring your feet and your knees all the way together. Situate your arms just so your shoulders can relax. And let's let our knees just tick-tock side to side a bit. Good, your knees will pause in the middle. We're going to play with the pelvis, the hips, in order to release that lower back. So imagine that your tailbone, if you had a clock, your tailbone is going to be your 6 o'clock. And then your belly button is going to be your 12 o'clock. And so wherever you are trying to like focus your attention is what you'll like either push down on or pull into. And we'll start by rotating the pelvis, so pushing the tailbone back and down into the ground so that your tailbone is pushing down on that 6 o'clock. Then you'll lift your tailbone between your legs. You'll pull the belly button in towards your spine and it's 12 o'clock. Rock the tailbone back and down into the earth for 6 o'clock. Tailbone comes between the legs, but you pull the belly button in for 12 o'clock. You're going from 6 to 12, rocking that pelvis forward and back essentially. It's anterior posterior rotation. It's also the same movement that you would do with your hips in cat-cow. Good, pause in the middle. And you've got a 3 o'clock and a 9 o'clock. So your 3 o'clock is your left hip, your 9 o'clock is your right. You'll go push down through your 3 o'clock and it will lift your other hip. So your left hip pushes down, your right hip pushes up, and then your right hip goes down, your left ones go up. And so you rock side to side with your hip. And I know it's confusing adding the clock, but in just a minute, we're gonna want that because we'll wanna do all the numbers all the way around. So you're rocking side to side with the hip. Maybe you go back to front to back, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, do a couple there, and then go back to side. And then we meet, just pausing in the middle, and very purposely, you're gonna engage like the belly, trying to make 12 o'clock, so your tailbone will lift between your legs. And then you'll shift just a little and imagine that you can find a 1 o'clock, a 2 o'clock, then your 3 o'clock, which means your left hip is pushing down, your right one is lifting up a bit. Then go to 4, 5, find your 6 o'clock, 7, 8, your 9 o'clock, 10, 11, 12 o'clock again. All the way around your clock, number by number. And this is super subtle. It may even seem kind of silly, but we want all of those little muscles back there, the lower back muscles, the muscles of the hips. We want them to have an opportunity to make contact with the earth so that the earth it pushes into them and like gently massages them. Good. Now you need to go the other way. So we've been going clockwise. We now want to go counterclockwise. We go from 12 to 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and then 5, 4, and 3, 2, 1, and 12. And just a little, maybe more deliberate than the other way. Good. Do a couple more times around your clock. We'll pause in the middle then. Bring the right knee in, the hands to the knee. Give it a hug in. Maybe your left leg stretches out, if that's okay on lower back. Breath in, breath out, I'll drop that foot to the earth. And inhale, we'll bring your left one in, hands to that knee to hug it in. Maybe right leg straightens. This is a wind reliever. A breath in, a breath out to bring the foot to the earth, both your knees bent. Our arms are out somewhere where the shoulders can relax. For me, it's like a giant T, and both our knees will drop to the right. So this is one of the best ones that I know to do for lower back. It's gonna be like a windshield wiper, but your top knee is gonna lead. So your feet stay on the earth, but your top knee moves up towards the middle and it drops out and open towards the left. Your legs are open just for a sec, but bottom leg will catch and both will land towards the left. Top knee is your lead. Legs open just for a sec, bottom leg catches. and both are to the right. Same thing, top knee is your lead. And you just go from side to side as slow or I guess as fast as you wish. The ground pushing into all those muscles across your hips and in your lower back. And remember, when we're releasing, which when lower back is tender or sore, releasing more often is what we want to do. It's the repetition of it. Maybe you read at night or you watch TV or something. Great time to just get on the ground and do releases. Another great one for lower back is if you're in your living room, you could scoot your butt up to the bottom of your couch, and then you just rest your calves on the couch, and just that elevation of the calves will push that lower back into the ground, and you'll have the support of the earth for that lower back. When we're here together, we put the legs up the wall, same thing. So do just a couple more times on each side. And if your body is longing for any other release that you know it really appreciates, you're more than welcome to go there. Very often it's just knees back in towards the chest, or happy baby, which is where you grab your feet. Your feet, the soles of your feet are towards the ceiling, your knees are kind of in your armpits, and you just rock a little side to side. Your sacrum, the bony flat part on the back of your butt stays on the ground. Whatever your body still feels like it needs. And when it feels as though you can comfortably stretch out, your legs are just going to lengthen out from your hips. Maybe even a bit wider than your hips. And then I reach more with my heels, like more than where they just land. Stretch through the heels and then let your feet roll out and just flop open. Your arms can drop down beside you. Maybe your shoulder blades tuck for some cushion. And here we move away from the physical practice of yoga. And we move into that practice of the mind, which, if you'll remember, traditionally, yoga had one pose. It was a seated pose. And this. And the practice was nothing but that of the mind. It was to relax yourself, your body. So that you could begin to see the movement of the mind. And it might be that you just don't see or observe the movement of the mind that way, but that you literally feel it. When you start thinking about something in particular, like your body tenses. When the body tenses, you relax. Maybe you connect with the breath. Maybe it's that breath that helps you relax. Maybe the body naturally feels heavier with an exhale. Maybe even play with the breath to help the body relax more with an exhale. One way to do that is to lengthen the exhale so that your exhale is longer than your inhale. Maybe your exhale is twice as long as your inhale. A really great breath for relaxing and even falling asleep is the 4-7-8 breath. I'm just going to guide us through. Participate if you wish, opt out if you'd rather not. We'll all exhale and let our breaths out. And then you're going to inhale to the count of 4. So go ahead and be inhaling. Hold your breath to the count of 7. Then exhale. We're exhaling to the count of 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, hold, and exhale. Take a normal breath or two. We'll inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, and exhale. Inhale, hold, exhale. Inhale, holding, and exhale. Regular breaths. You only want to do that breath 3 or 4 times in a row, just so you don't hyperventilate. But it typically releases, relaxes your body, and really helps to quiet that mind because it takes so much concentration. Bringing awareness into body. You'll very gently wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Maybe move your head a little side to side. When you're ready to bend the knees, they'll bend. The hips are just one way or another, so you can roll to the side. Just meeting on your side body just for a breath or two. To come up, we use our hands and our arms to push ourselves up. And when we meet, we're going to meet at a comfortable seat. Our legs, however best serves our body. And the eyes closed, we'll bring the right hand to the heart. And bring the left hand over, just crossing, cradling that heart. And bowing the chin towards the chest, bringing that mind a little bit closer to that heart. As we close, if there's anything in your work that you're doing, anything that can sink from your head to your heart so that you might fully know, imagine it sinking. Imagine those two connecting. And that heart even growing in a way that it can fill the head. Closing then with the term namaste, just means that the spirit in me or the energy in me, that energy in me honors the energy in you. Namaste.